We'll begin this afternoon with Julie Whitmire and announcing our speaker, Tim Mielcarek. Leadership Sun Prairie graduates, you have taken a journey through our community to learn more about leadership. We have some great leadership in this community, and some great leadership takes courage. Our guest speaker today possesses that courage and so much more. He began as a mere delivery driver and has earned his way up to be the owner of Hallman Lindsay Paints. It's a statewide business with 24 store locations, and something you may not know, it's the only Wisconsin-based paint manufacturer. Hallman Lindsay Paints can be found on the walls of Camp Randall, the Cole Center, the Monona Terrace, as well as Sunshine Place, Sunshine Supper, and many homes throughout Wisconsin. If you follow Hallman Lindsay Paints in the news, you will witness the incredible generosity of the company, its employees, their volunteering, their donating, in all 24 local communities. And that is really a result of the great leadership of Tim Mielcarek. Walk into any Hallman Lindsay paint store and you will find a smiling face, staff who are knowledgeable and extremely helpful. And with that first brush stroke, it is evident that Hallman Lindsay Paints is like no other, an extremely high quality paint. Again, representing a company that does not cut corners. Tim is a faithful steward, a loving husband, father, friend, great community leader, and a great man overall. Please help me in welcoming Tim Mielcarek.
When Julie called me, the one thing that I was afraid of is that Beth was going to introduce me and tell the truth. Thanks so much. I'm going to have to go to Plan B though, because you can't read that, but we'll get as we go. You know, when Julie called me, and I kind of looked at the list of people, and I thought, you know what? I don't know any of you, any of the classmates. And if I do, if I met you, I'm sorry, I don't remember. But I really don't know any of you. And I thought, man, that's something. But I thought, how neat is it that you've stepped up to be leaders and to take this class and to learn about our community. And that's the first step in really helping us to build a community and for you to be able to help that. And I just want you to know that I really respect you for doing that. And I thank you for doing it, and I congratulate you for doing that. It's a great thing. Last week, I do a weekly Bible study, a leadership Bible study with some guys. Last week, our topic was commitment. And yesterday, we did it yesterday morning, and the topic was self-discipline. And as I drove away, I thought about the 14 of you. You had the commitment a year ago to step up and sign up for this class. And frankly, it's something I've never had. I see 6-8 Thursdays or Wednesdays or whatever it is throughout the course of the year. And I've never had the commitment to do that. And I've never had the self-discipline to do it, so I just stayed away from it. But you guys had the commitment and the self-discipline, and that's really a neat thing that you all should be proud of, and it describes you to a T. That's what my Bible study did the last couple of weeks, so I just thought that was a neat thing that I'd share with you. I just like to share some thoughts and observations on leadership and some of the things we do at Hallman Lindsay. And first, what I really believe is the most important function of leadership is to establish, is to nurture the culture in your organizations. I just think, and maybe it's because I'm from a smaller organization and have an opportunity to do that, but you're always looking for ways to differentiate your company, differentiate your organization, and to figure out how to do that. And the problem you have doing that is you come up with a new idea, you come up with a new product, and it can always be copied. You know, everybody's got a better mousetrap, everybody's got a better idea, and eventually they're going to come up with the same idea. They're going to copy your idea. They're going to come up with a better idea. But the one thing that can always differentiate your organization or your business, in my opinion, is the culture that you create. And as such, I think the culture, it's not only for your own internal people, your customers see that culture as well. And I just firmly believe that's the most important thing that any of us can do as leaders, and that's really what we focus on. And what I'd like to do is share a few things about Hallman, Lindsay, and some of the things we do, and then I'd like to tell you about some of the observations I've made on leadership, what I've seen over the years. And I'm going to have to go to Plan B because I really wanted to get in on the stuff that's below those values, but we'll go to Plan B and I'll just go through it. But these are the values that we use to create our culture at Hallman, Lindsay. Humility, and underneath it, and I'll just read what's underneath it. I hope. Yeah, I'll read what's underneath it. But humility, we define as know who we are. Passion, we define as display contagious enthusiasm. Unity, together we are stronger. Servanthood, make everyone better. Thankfulness, learn from each circumstance. And then we say at the bottom, values are something that we choose, something we prize. And most small businesses are very blessed with the opportunity to choose values that are important to you. And I always compare us to Sherwin-Williams in a lot of ways because obviously they're our biggest competitor. But it's not just Sherwin-Williams. If you're a publicly held corporation in the United States, let's face it, your biggest concern is your shareholders. You've got to please your shareholders. And Sherwin-Williams is a great company, and these other public companies are great companies as well. But in the forefront is the shareholders, the investors. They have to please them. So their decisions, the investors almost come first. And with us, we choose these values because it's what we prize, and it's because what we think is important. You have to commit to them publicly. We have these values in all our stores. There's a 12 by 24 in all the stores of these values. All our people know coming in what our values are. We go over them with them once a year to make sure we remind ourselves and them of them. And then we put act upon them consistently. And at the bottom we put values reflect who we are and allow us to make decisions easier and quicker. You try to make all your decisions based on what's really important to you. For example, passion. I've gone to some of our people and said, you know what, you really don't have a passion for this business. And everybody in the company knew that they didn't, that the people didn't, because you could just sense it. But if they don't have a passion, they shouldn't be there. And you make the decision, you know, it's best for you if you move on, and it's best for us if you move on. There's things like that you've done, but if you make decisions based on what you really value and what's really important, it's a lot easier and you're a lot more consistent. So we do focus on that. How do I do this for the next one? Oh, thank you. And then we break down our values to a page each. And this one I'm going to have to read some of it, but a servant, that's the last one. There's another one somewhere. I hope. Should be one more. That's it. Okay, and we break down the 5 values into a page on each where we get into a little more in depth. And servanthood, I just like to go a little deeper, make everyone better. And then we reference a couple points, and it's all biblically based because it's simple. That's who we are. So they're all biblically based. But servanthood, and since I, the Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash each other's feet. And whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And then we talk about serving each other, our customers and our vendors' needs will make us better, and helping everyone else become successful will bring us success as well. And we focus a lot on that, and I always say to our people, you know, it's relatively easy to understand servanthood and to get service, what it means if you're working in the store and there's customers that are coming in and you're taking care of them, you have to service them. You still got to get the point across, but it's relatively easy to get the point across. But for the people in our offices, for the people in our factories, for the people in our labs and our shipping, they don't see the customers. And they don't quite understand that point unless it's really explained to them well. And we really emphasize that point. And for our customers, and a lot of our customers are contractors, virtually every one of them knows they cannot get the service they get at any other paint company that they get from us because we're small enough, we're on top of them, and that service really pays off. So we really emphasize the servanthood and focus on that a lot and try to get it across to all our people. Now I think the next one, if I can get it. Yeah. So I'd like to take that servanthood one step further and just talk about servant leadership for a few minutes. And I put the definition, this is just the definition that I took out of, might have been whatever. Wikipedia, yeah. And I took out whatever. A servant leader shares power, puts the needs of others first, helps people develop, and perform as highly as possible. So that's just the definition of servanthood. But the real question is, or servant leadership, but the real question is, how do you do it? And I know that that's a major topic. It's a big topic. As a matter of fact, there's schools that have master's degrees in servant leadership. I think we're blessed in this room with somebody who has a master's degree in servant leadership. So I assume it's 2 years of study and all that stuff, and it's a big deal. But I'm a pretty simple guy, and I don't get real complicated. And to me, it's just focus on others, ask followers what they need, and allocate your resources. And that's basically how we try to lead as a servant leader. And, most times it's that simple. And you just have to keep it in mind and keep focused and really focus on others. Just to share a few observations on servant leadership and servant leader-led organizations. There's a few things that I've noticed over the years. One, it's a very contagious culture. If the person at top is a servant leader and really sincerely demonstrates being a sincere leader, as a servant leader, it becomes extremely contagious. And it just really, it becomes fun. It's a great environment to work in. And it's just a neat thing. And I think as you take that one step further, as customers, I think you can sense when you go into a company or a business or a store that's led by servant leaders or has that as a mentality. It's just more pleasant for us to go in there. You can tell that the employees are empowered. They can make decisions. They know how to treat you right. They're able to say, hey, we can do that. We've all been to restaurants. We've been to wherever. Well, can I make this change? Can I make that? Well, I got to check. Or a car dealer's a classic. I got to go back to my boss and check this or check that. And when you sincerely have or are working with an organization that's servant-led, people can make decisions, and it's just a much more enjoyable experience, I think. And the outcomes you get from those companies far exceed your expectations. And a couple examples I can think of is Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby is just terrific, and believe me, I don't go into Hobby Lobby very much, but I've been into Hobby Lobby down in Florida a number of times, and it's just amazing. I would bet anything I have that's a servant-led organization. The other one is Chick-fil-A. We don't have Chick-fil-A around here, but you go into Chick-fil-A's, it's unbelievable, the service that you get and how polite the people are, and I bet anything there, it carries over from the top. Another observation I'd like to make is that servant leadership can come from anywhere in the organization. It doesn't necessarily have to come from the CEO, or it doesn't necessarily have to come from the president. Everybody in the organization can step up and assume the role of the servant leader, in my opinion. And you look at your small work groups, probably there's one person who kind of stands out. It's probably the person who serves everybody else and is the go-to person when you need something done, and you know you can get it accomplished, and they're willing to serve you. I think they become the unofficial leader. We have a guy like that in Milwaukee. We have, 8 or 10 stores in Milwaukee, and we have a person who watches over the whole district, all the stores and the salespeople. And frankly, I probably go to a guy who runs one of our stores who's been there a long time because he's the servant leader and he's the unofficial leader. And I know everybody down there goes to him, and I know he knows everything, and I'll just run things past him. But any one of you can be that servant leader. It doesn't matter what position you're in. You can step up and be it, and you'll be surprised how contagious it is in your work group, no matter how big it is. The other thing that I try to remember, and if any of you are in a position to hire people, hire servants. If you hire a servant, it's so much more pleasurable at work. They'll take care of what needs to be done. But we'll look at waiters, we'll look at bartenders, we'll look at people who are used to serving others and how they do it with a smile. And it's just a tremendous opportunity to find somebody who is really going to make your organization better. To share just one more thought that I just read this 4 or 5 weeks ago, leaders best serve followers by defining reality. Leaders best serve followers by defining reality. That's not always, it sounds like a real simple statement. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but you're best serving every one of your followers if you really truly define reality. Hey, this isn't the way to do it. Hey, you've got to do better here. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. Hey, you're doing a great job. But it's easy to say that, hey, you're doing a great job. It's harder to define the other realities, and that's where you have to step forward. And if you're truly going to be a leader, I think that's one of the things that I'm weak at that. I'm not very good at that either. I don't like doing that. It's not your favorite thing, but that's a statement that really stuck with me, and I've tried to do it better even in the 2 months since I've seen it. To close, I just like to say, I guess, that I feel very blessed leading an organization as a servant leader, but I think all those blessings double when you can create the culture of a servant mentality or a servant culture. It just, everything is so much better. It's awesome. I'm very lucky and fortunate to be where I am. And I'd like to wish all of you the best of luck. I hope each one of you will be blessed with the heart of a servant as you go forward to lead your organizations and as you go forward to lead our community. Thank you.